I'm going to start out by painting around the subject. To me, this is a great place to start. It varies for every piece, and frankly, it varies for every person. The subject to me in a piece is something that's of interest. So when I look at this thing, especially when I zoom out on it, I see that rock. And that's also by design. I made my reference there and manipulated it so that the rock you really focus on it. But also when you're looking at any landscape or anything, you want to take a minute, zoom out, and think about the thing that's of interest to you. So if you're looking at a living room, for example, and there's a chandelier, and you walk right in and that's what you see, that's what you want to start focusing on. So that's how I'm starting out my piece here. I'm focused on just painting around that thing and setting myself up. Moving forward here, I'm starting to continue blocking in around the subject, and like magic, it fast forwarded there and you see the rock appear. Now, something that you're going to see me doing that I want to touch on a little bit is directional brush strokes. This is something that I generally wait longer in the piece for. And with anything I do, my whole focus is how long am I going to need that for and what am I going to need that for? So with directional brush strokes, if I don't have my color all blocked in, I'm going to wait on that stuff because I know that it's going to get covered up. In this case, I'm spending a little more time on it at this initial stage with the rock, for example, because I know that I'm only going to be doing this for a short amount of time, so I just have to get to it. So if you look at that rock, there are some things that are going to stay. Something else I want to talk about at this point is letting the medium do what it's supposed to do. You're going to see that I've got some drips happening there. I welcome this kind of stuff. I love when paint just does unpredictable things. And I think for me, one of the things that makes it very exciting is it's the blend of the artist and what the medium is doing. So I try to control it sometimes, and then there are times where it will do something like it's doing right now where it drips, and unfortunately, oh, there I covered some of it up. I try to use that as much as I possibly can. I personally really like the effect of that. Have a look at what I'm doing right here. You'll see that if you look closely, I'm spending a lot of time working between two different colors. I've got my Viridian up on the upper right and my raw umber on the bottom left. And that's really where I'm getting a lot of my greens. In this case, it's because I want it to be a cool green. Green is a lot of different temperatures. So have a look at what I'm doing here. Getting back into the painting, I'm doing exactly just that. I'm starting to grab my Viridian green and my raw umber, and that's what I'm using for my darks in this case. And it's a very cool green. There can be warm greens and cool greens. There's more of a warm green on the bushes in the back, and then the cool green is in the water. That's how I'm seeing it. Something I think a lot about too is temperature. I think about temperature actually more than I do about color. So when I look at that, at the water surrounding the rock, it's warm, but there's a general coolness to it. Even though I don't actually see that in the reference, I'm going to take a little bit of liberty and try to put in some of that cool temperature. Going back into the rock here, because I know I only have so much time, I'm spending more time thinking about directional strokes. I want to communicate the structure of what this rock is. So you can see I'm spending some time with my flat, and very similar to what I do when I'm drawing, I'm shading with the form, so to speak. I'm not shading with pencil, I'm shading with paint. And I'm going in and really paying attention to where my strokes go, because these are strokes that I'm going to want to touch a bit less. I'm starting to slow down a little bit because things are blocked in. I'm spending a little more time looking at things and shading around them. This part on the demo can admittedly get a lot slower, but take some time and have a look at what I'm doing. I'm spending my time judging things and standing back and looking at the piece and being a little more deliberate with my strokes. I'm going into the background there and starting to pull out some lights that I see in the composition. Something that I'm doing here is I'm tinting the canvas. And what I mean by that is, watch me dig in a bit with my brush. I'm actually pulling out paint. So I'm using some of the white of the canvas and I'm pushing so hard with my brush that I'm adding paint, but I am actually taking it out too. We're going to talk about this a bit more coming up, but I'm starting to flatten things out. I'm starting to smooth things out and soften edges where I don't want the viewer to look. I'm trying to keep all of my painterly stuff to the subject, which in this case is going to be the rock. In this part here, I'm blurring out the background, and the reason for that is I'm trying to bring my attention to the sharper area in the front, which in this case is the rock. Something that you can do is you can blur out the entire composition and then come back and sharpen it. If you watch, I do this multiple times in little ways. I'll come in and I'll blur the whole thing and then I'll sharpen it. Have a look. There are points in a painting where I'm thinking mostly about the reed, and that's what I'm doing here, and I'm going to spend a lot of time talking about this as I'm just softening stuff. There are times when you are putting down a lot of strokes, there are times when you're judging it, and then there are times when you're starting to bring it together. This is the bring it together phase. So I'm looking at all of that white on the top, I'm looking at where my edges are hard, where my edges are soft, and I'm spending my time asking myself, what do I need to do to get this to read more? What do I want the viewer to look at? What's missing? Now that I've smoothed out the background quite a bit, I'm going to go back in and start working on the rock again, which is the subject. Something I want to talk about in this piece is spontaneity. There's a lot of spontaneity in nature, and if you're painting anything with a landscape, you need to keep some of that in your work. Now for me, what spontaneity is in painting, it's more just curating things and making choices rather than trying to do something. So what I mean by that is, when I paint, all kinds of bad things happen. Things happen that we don't want. Stray strokes, a brush hair will get in the painting. All kinds of things happen. For me, what spontaneity is it's the ability to take a minute and look at those things that happened and take some of them out, but then keep some of them in. So a brush stroke that looks arbitrary actually was arbitrary. I didn't mean to do it, but I take a minute and I go back in and I say, you know, part of that actually worked, so I'm going to keep some of that in there and I'm going to make sure not to touch that. Things that I would talk about in this that are specifically that are, there are some brush strokes in there that are overlapping where the drips were. And I'm going to keep that in. You see there's a couple little lines in there, here and there. And when you look at actual rock, it has that same level of arbitrariness to it. And that's what I'm trying to keep in. I'm going back in with a palette knife now. And the thing about a palette knife that's nice is, at least in my hands, I don't have any control with it. I'm actually very, very poor at painting with a palette knife, and I'm going to use that to my advantage. You want to talk about getting arbitrary strokes? I can't do anything but an arbitrary stroke with a palette knife. And water does that. Water is arbitrary. So I'm going back in and doing my best. You can see I did my best with that palette knife, and I'm going to cover a lot of it up. But if you look closely, there are going to be things that I put back in with the palette knife that I don't cover back up. Okay, so let's talk about making mistakes here. I made a mistake there. You can see that I tried to do something, I went for it with the palette knife, and then I had to cover it up. But here I am taking a second stab at it. We fast forwarded there, but you can see what I did with that. What I do when I'm making a mistake in painting is I don't really try to fix it, I try to overpower it. So basically, if there's an area where I made a mistake, I'm just going to come back in and keep painting on it until I overpower those initial mistakes. And something I think is really beautiful about painting is a lot of that stuff ends up staying in, and you can see almost the ghost of those past decisions in the work. And I think that's one of the nice things about loose painting. You really see all the decisions. You see the whole process. So when I look at a painting, let's take Monet for an example. When I look at Monet, I can see the thought process and all those decisions that went into it. And for me, it's beautiful. It really gives a lot of insight into what the artist did. Getting to these last stages of the painting, I'm taking a few more risks, but I'm also trying to preserve the things that I like. So that rock has a lot of directional strokes in it and a lot of structure and a lot of things that I really like. I love those drips. I like some of the strokes, some of those nice flat strokes that describe form. I'm not going to mess with it. I want to keep it. So at this point, for me, the whole painting is about what I want to keep and what I want to edit. I take big risks, but there are pieces that I won't touch. So knowing that I only have a few minutes left on this painting, On something like the rock, if it communicates what I want and it's looking the way I want it to be, I'm going to stay away from that. So you're not going to see me spending a lot of time messing with that rock. Instead, I'm going to be working on the things around it. Looking at the reference, I can see that it's very, very soft in the background, so I'm going to be going back in and editing a lot of that, just trying to get it as soft as I can. Also, with softening things, you want to make sure that you're not softening and losing the structure. That's a challenging thing to do. It's good to be able to go back in and make all of those decisions and soften it, but you don't want to lose that structure. There I go again with the palette knife. Arbitrary shape. I don't have the ability to do anything but arbitrary with that palette knife. I'm not particularly good with it, but it actually works out really well in that sense. I'm standing back and looking at that, so I didn't jump back in and make a stroke immediately. I put that in there and asked myself, did that work? Did that work? And I'm going to go back in and edit it a little bit. For dark, I'm using a warm dark. I'm using a alizarin crimson mixed with some raw umber and a little bit of blue in there, maybe a little bit of phthalo blue in the corner of that. As I get to the end stage of this, I just want to say thank you so much for coming. I hope that you enjoyed this and learned a lot. Painting is a ton of fun for me. Painting a quick little landscape like this gives me the opportunity to make all kinds of decisions and just have a lot of fun with painting. Thanks again for coming. I'll see you next time.